'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through Stu's flat not a creature was stirring, not even a gnat. Stu's username was Crazy for Games. For YouTube he often played GTA games. San Andreas was his favourite GTA game. He was good at the driving, but had a terrible aim. In his warm, cosy bed, Stu was asleep. Up until now, there hadn't been a peep. A noise woke Stu from his heavenly sleep, and out of his bed he really did leap. It wasn't his clock or the wind in the trees. He was certain that he'd heard someone say cheese. He opened his door after rubbing his eyes and peered out carefully, expecting a surprise. Nobody in the kitchen, and thus it would seem that the noise that he'd heard was only a dream. He suddenly felt hungry and was then in the mood for a midnight snack and devouring some food. He opened the fridge, and on looking in there, he noticed something which caused him to swear. The cheese was missing from one of the shelves, so intruders had come and taken it themselves. Suddenly Stu heard a friend of CJ's, and he nearly soiled his dark grey PJs. It was a sound which sent a chill down his spine. The voice that he could hear was saying number 9. It came from the lounge, so that's where Stu crept. Very, very slowly, that's how he stepped. As he got closer, more numbers were heard. 6 and 7, 45 was the third. Trembling all over, Stu peered round the door, and then under his breath, with surprise, he swore. The intruder was only the jolly Saint Nick, but what about the cheese? Was he really a dick? Regardless, Santa hadn't noticed Stu yet. Stu was curious to know what gifts he would get. Santa put gifts on the floor, which was hard, and into the stocking he inserted a card. Stu's face lit up at the stuff that he'd gained. The excitement simply could not be contained, and as a result, he wasn't very smart. In all the excitement, he let out a fart. Santa turned round and Stu got the reveal. Turns out this Santa was actually not real. Yes, he was plump, but something wasn't right. The colour of his beard was brown, not white. He approached Stu and said, "I'm disappointed in you. All you had to do was stay in bed, Stu." Just then, Stu woke up. He was back in his bed. That is what happens when you eat cheese before bed. Cheese, Stu thought. Big Smoke, he said. Santa didn't come, it was Big Smoke instead. It was only a dream, calm the hell down. Today is Christmas Day, no need for a frown. Stu went to the lounge to see what he'd got. I bet there's a card in my stocking, he thought. A card was in the stocking, he was absolutely right. He looked at the front and smiled at the sight. From all of your fans was written on it. Stu just kept smiling. He didn't hate it one bit. When he read the message that was inside the card, he really did laugh ridiculously hard. It said, "Stu, Stu, thank you for the laughs. It's always amusing when you make real gaffes. You love to play games in which you get to drive cars, but how in the world did you get 7 stars? Stay solid and Merry Christmas, everybody."